Hello everyone, I'm Talentron and this is my submission of Splatoon 2 NG Plus to GDQ. This is a category that is extremely fast-paced and entertaining, easily my favorite of all the Splatoon 2 categories. And I'm going to be breaking down my current personal best, which is second on the boards right now, only behind Thundy, that is. So a very high time on the boards. Go through it and explain a lot of this stuff. Things go really quickly here though, so lots to go over and the levels are extremely fast paced. And what this category is, like a brief explanation, is that we're going to be going through all of the levels in Splatoon 2's Octo Canyon campaign on an already completed file, which lets us have all the weapon upgrades and skip cutscenes. And we start with level 3 in World 1. The first weapon we get to use are the hero Dualies. The Dualies, kind of a short range weapon. Pretty good fire rate because every weapon has a pretty good fire rate in NG+. The main aspect of it though are the dodge rolls that it can do, which you have been seeing on the rails so far. These dodge rolls let us get a lot more movement options and are going to be used pretty much everywhere throughout this entire run. You're also seeing these curling bombs right here. Curling bombs are a really efficient sub-weapon for us speedrunners because they paint a line of ink straight forward, which is fantastic for us. So curling bomb optimization is a massive part of how this run works. Anyways, we've been cruising through this level 3, grab ourselves a 102. Very good time. That's basically the NG Plus standard. The IL record now is 59 seconds, but it's extremely inconsistent at times. But we're off to level 2 now for our second weapon to be used, the hero shot. You can think of the hero shot as basically the same thing as the Dualies. The only difference is that it has more range and a better damage output. But the drawback is that it doesn't have dodge rolls. So in many cases, it's not great compared to just being able to use the Dualies, yes. But there are some stages where that range is super, super important. So we'll pick it up for those. So the whole deal with level 2 is that there's a lot of sponges going around. And the thing about sponge movement is that you kind of want to be standing like directly on top of it if you're going to be using it to boost upward, which is kind of finicky to do in this game. A lot more finicky than it is in Splatoon 1, that's for sure. Paint this whole wall on the side, and during this whole section, we're going to be taking out a big group of enemies. You can do it with a splashdown, and you can also just do it with a shot very effectively as well, like so. The high fire rate and range of the hero shot makes cleaning up these enemies really, really quick. A lot faster than any percent would have to do, that's for sure. And we'll be using these ink balloons to give us some paths on these sponges and get ourselves to the end of the stage, making sure not to bonk on one of these sponges here because that's just like the most annoying thing you can do. 134, that's so good. Wow, that's crazy, bro. Then up next is level 1. That's right, we just did World 1 backwards. It actually makes sense, because after level 1, we're going to be able to swim to boss 1 and enter the kettle that way, which is faster than super jumping, which you've seen me do to most of the stages. In almost every stage, we're going to be super jumping to it, just because we already have everything unlocked, so that's generally faster, but there's a couple of cases early on where it's not. Anyway, level 1. Glitch coming up called Bomb Crush. When a box is falling in this game, if you put a bomb under where the box is supposed to be, it'll instantly blow up the bomb as the box falls. and that's called a Bomb Crush, and it's very useful in a couple of spots, that being the main one. Grab ourselves the key to get back to the lockbox. Just Splatoon things. And then from here, I believe we'll be setting up an insta-kill on the shielded enemy. Please tell me I knew about this back then. Oh, did I ever? Yes! You can shoot shots right above that enemy shield instead of distracting it with a bomb if your spacing's really good. Now we just gotta finish up the stage from here, not too bad. To finish this up, we got all of these enemies in the back. We know which ones have a key based on the cycles that we're on. Grab your key, go to the end. 139's alright. I mean, world record's 126 there, but what are you gonna do, you know? And then next up, boss 1, and we're gonna be seeing our third weapon of this, the hero charger. The thing about the charger is that you do have to build up a shot every time you want to shoot. But the thing about those shots is that they have a good damage output, and they have a ton of range. And the range is super important for some stages. This being one of them. You'll see why in a sec. So on top of the toaster right here, once the toaster is done, its attacks for the phase, the tentacle will spawn on top of it, and you can use the charger's range to pick it out. Usually you would have to climb up this boss, but the charger just invalidates that strategy, and ends up being a very nice time save. Shots are kind of tricky though. You need to have like the right angle and distance to actually make these work. Just because it's kind of a weird facing angle. There's also that glazing machine there. By damage boosting off of it instead of waiting for its attack, it saves about 10 seconds because it doesn't have to spin all the way around. It just retracts immediately, which is pretty nice, I cannot lie. I missed a shot. No, missed a shot. I feel like even with the missed shot though, I'm pretty sure I still 110'd, yeah. Which is insane. When you miss a shot here, you usually lose about a second. But I like lost just under a second, enough that I could still pull a 110, which is pretty cool. Anyway, on to World 2 now. Okay, so the deal with level 6, there's actually a new IL strat here, but it's too inconsistent right now to do in runs. This strat wasn't even known about back in March when I did this run, but it's now a thing, and it's likely not something I'm going to be able to show off in a marathon. While it is a 30-second time save, it's just too inconsistent right now. We don't have a good setup. So let me explain. On this right platform here, there's actually a grappling in the top corner that leads to the end of the stage, and if you let this platform reset its position after getting onto it, you can get a slight boost of speed forward, and you use that to go to the end of the stage instead of going through the rest of it like this, which ends up saving a ton of time. It's almost frame perfect, and we can't really get a good visual setup for it because there's no good cues. And missing it loses about 20, so you really only have 2 shots before you're losing time. Anyway, we picked up a Stingray later through the stage. Stingrays have infinite range, so you can use it to pull the fan of this end platform over, and then hit the grab link. Grab myself a nice 102. And for old strats, 102 is insane. That's a really good time. But now the world record is 29 seconds because of the new skip. If we do find a setup for it, though, I'm definitely going to show it off. It's just, I don't got my bets on it. It's particularly tricky. Anyway, we're going into level 7. This level introduces giant squeegees. Giant squeegees are they're a pretty evil enemy class. Touching any part of this giant squeegee will basically just push you right off the stage, so you have to be very careful moving around them. They're only really attracted to bombs, but bombs don't work that great at leading them either. Like, they're supposed to, but they don't, you know? It's kind of a janky enemy, so sometimes these parts can really feel like RNG. But I have a 2 curl setup here. Oh, actually, you can do 3 in NG+. You have to do a 2 curl setup there at any percent, but the multi-curl setup there works very efficiently for that section, but it'll get worse as the game goes on. I feel like this stage isn't too bad for giant squeegees, but there's going to be some really nasty parts with giant squeegees later. Anyways, I went up to that section, grabbed a key, go to the lockbox. Grab a key out of this box and do dodge rolls to actually snap to the key and go back to the lockbox. And then we're going to be baiting this giant squeegee forward with our curling bombs. And grabbing ourselves. Is that a 137? Wow! Dude, that's crazy! IL world record with like these strats instead of like the ledge wall jump at the end is 136. So that's a nuts time. I forgot, like it's been a long time since I've ran this category at top level. I still run it from time to time, hitting like 105s or 106s because I'm not very practiced on it, but I've been more focusing on Splatoon 1. And now any percent trifectas. But this was like how I really got interested in speedrunning in the first place, so it's definitely one of my all-time favorite categories. I just already feel like I accomplished everything I wanted to. One of these days I'll have to get record back from Thundy, but what are you gonna do about it, you know? It's Thundy, you're scrapping with one of the best Splatoon players in the world, so... Anyway, we're on level 5. That concept right there to get up that wall is called a Nollie Jump, and how it works, when you're shooting towards a wall, you go back into squid form and jump. Not only do you get increased speed forward, but you also get increased speed up. So you can use that to make a lot of really weird jumps that you wouldn't normally be able to make on a rail. I don't think nollies have that many applications in this category. It's more any percent that gets a bunch of them. I think there's like 2. That one and 23 has one, I'm pretty sure. But from here, we're just dodge roll boosting on this rail. By doing a dodge roll onto the rail, going back in, doing another dodge roll, you actually save a few frames every time. So rail stages are kind of centered around that mechanic. Wow, those are good times, dude. 133, what? That's crazy, bro. And in level 4, there's gonna be these things called Rolonium, like these bundles of it. You can do a boost off of these Rolonium. The only problem with it is that it's extremely frame tight, so you usually don't need it. I don't go for it here entirely. It's about a 3-second time save if you hit all of them, but you can lose over 10 if you start missing them. It's a risk reward that some people consider going for, and I don't blame them. I have other risk rewards that are equally as crazy. Well, we've been cruising through 4 with dualies. There's lots of pathing I can do with curling bombs. Activating... That's a good point, actually. So you can activate a geyser there by throwing a curling ball on top of it. That's better than like shooting down because you don't have to look down. and shoot, you can just throw a curling bomb where it is, and it'll activate it. Which is kind of a nice save because you don't gotta mess with your camera or anything. And based on how fast you're going throughout the stage, you have to pick a cycle because of this end block. It's on a global. Grab the very standard 121 here. That's like gold standard for no rolo boosts. And then next up, level 9, an Octoling stage. The thing about Octoling stage is that there's 8 mini Zapfish scattered across the whole thing, and we need to find a route that is going to grab all 8 of these as quickly as possible. The thing is, these are on multiplayer maps, and multiplayer maps are pretty small, so Octoling stages end up being really quick. This route is called Rta Route because it's generally the most consistent for full game and doesn't require you picking up a set of armor ever, unless you get like broken there or something, which sometimes happens. But Rta Route is usually the default a lot of people will go for, but IL Route definitely has merit and actually gets used at any percent because you don't have sufficient ink tank for Rta Route. So I feel like the only real mistake I made in this PB run was this stage. Or, well, mistake until World 5. My World 5 is something else. But for about the first 45 minutes of the run, the only real mistake I made, I believe, was here. Which is pretty crazy. Being consistent for that long and all. So the thing here, you got all these ink furlers around. You shoot it and it'll make you a path forward. But there's also a lot of advanced tech with ink furlers. So what I'm going to do coming up, I'm going to place a bomb on the ground and I'm going to stand in between 2 of the ink furlers. Like so. And it's going to like put me in between the furler as it's rolling forward and push me. Which is a lot faster than just trailing the path behind it. And then during this section, we can just go straight between these enemies if you know how their shots are going to work. Like, intentionally take one of the shots so you don't get your armor broken. This section is sadly a little bit RNG, and I did not get a good... I wasn't getting what I was looking for, and the problem after is that I missed one of the sprinklers, so I had to go back and break that, otherwise it was going to make the ink further shrink again. So I ended up losing about 5 seconds overall there. Which it happens, you know. Whatever, man. That kind of stuff happens. Then we go into Samurai. Woo! The thing about Samurai is that we want to do this one with Hero Shot as well. It's like all the other bosses, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, all the other bosses we use Charger for because of the range. But the thing is, Samurai is an up close and personal fight, so we want the damage output of the Hero Shot. Because this thing just dishes out damage so quickly. When it's fully upgraded, it is fast. And it has the damage of a 52 gal. So yeah, very balanced weapon, guys. Put that one in multiplayer and see how the people react. All the comp players freak out when it's just like, oh my god, this weapon does way too much. What do you mean? Nice casual 41 there. World record's a 39. I think my best there is a 40 though. I've never really prioritized that stage that much just because it's so minor. There's always bigger time saves to go for. Anyway, level 10. We're in World 3 now. World 3 in both Splatoon games is notorious for being the hardest. And Splatoon 2's Hero Mode is no exception because, oh man, this world's crazy. Starting out with the Octo Seeker stage. Probably the most interesting fact about this stage is that the record, like the IL record for this stage, is shared between two different weapons, the Dualies and the Hero Shot. Which no other stage is like that. Dualies usually take most of them, or the Hero Shot's advantages are so distinct that the Dualies aren't even close on that stage, you know? But this is the only stage where each weapon has strengths and weaknesses enough for it to equal at the same time, which I think is really cool. I prefer the Hero Shot because of the increased range, making it a bit more consistent in full game, but the Dualies definitely have merit here because they can dodge roll on sections that you can't actually ink, which saves time. So that's cool, bro. Get on top of this Octo Seeker. It's got its own global cyclone and everything. Easy enough to get on if you've been moving pretty well throughout the stage. Ink these two sponges. I'm surprised it didn't fall off there. That gap was absolutely tiny. Nice time. Now for one of the worst stages in this game, Parking Garage, level 14. The thing about this stage is that there's multiple sections that are pretty likely to get you killed or just miss something subtle and fall down the stage. I'm already choosing a safer weapon. The Dualies are technically faster here, but the Hero Shot's pretty reliable because of the range. So, first things first, we gotta do Car Wash skip. There's this Car Wash here surrounded by ink sticks, but if you get your armor broken and mash between two different things that are hitting you, you can actually get shot straight up and let you skip that whole Car Wash section. It's about a 5-second save. And then just going throughout the stage at this point. Nothing too difficult here movement-wise. We're getting chased down by this sniper. We're gonna have to deal with the sniper eventually. That's kind of the next tricky part. So what we have to do here, we go through 2 of these zip pads but land here, making sure to dodge that sniper shot while you're midair, which is faster than going all the way up onto the grate by a pretty significant margin, because you can grab speed there. With these 2 sections, and the thing about this part right here is that you're kind of just climbing up as you go through like all these different sections with enemies. So you really don't want to fall. And I almost do, I'm pretty sure. Yep, that was close. I almost got an enemy shot put right where I was going to jump, which is worst case scenario there, because you'll lose about 15 seconds to falling. And I luckily didn't, so got to keep my run. Very cool. Yeah, there's always faster times you can get in 14, but you're always just kind of happy to get out of it, because that one's a pretty common reset point. And then next up is level 12. So the thing about level 12, it's got these bounce pads. And the thing with Dualies and bounce pads is that you can actually get a lot of weird movement out of it. And that's going to be pretty useful at the end of the stage. It'll also be able to use a lot of different nice facts about the Dualies here. So if you go to these bounce pads and you don't hold B, you'll get a small bounce like that. But if you hold B, you get a large one there. Well, I unfortunately tapped the block in front of me, so I lose a little bit of time here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's kind of slow. Oh well. So when you dodge roll in this game, it's technically sending you down, and it sends you down at a really high speed. So if you do a bunch of dodge rolls as you're doing that, you'll fall down that section significantly faster, which is a great time save. You can also do dodge rolls onto these bounce pads to like do some slick movement up to this platform, which no other weapon can really achieve results like that. Dually dodge rolls really define this category. First time of the run, I pull over 10 seconds ahead. How about that? Next to 15, another Octoling stage. This one's really tricky in other categories, but not so much in NG+. Because of our large ink tank here, we don't really have a lot of problems with the stage. You got backups for the backups here. Like if you miss this curl, you can just throw another one and not have to worry about it. But you can't do that in any percent, that's for sure. Any percent you have to hit that, or you're losing a ton. Get my armor broken by a roller there, but grabbing a mini Zapfish will get your armor back, so it's not the biggest concern. Next up for probably the big gauntlet, 13 and 11. These are two stages back to back, which are super difficult and precise, and really separate the good players from the best players. Being good at these two stages is really important. But the thing about 13 is that it's got these ink switches throughout the stage that are going to move platforms for you. And by making sure that bomber doesn't aggro onto me early, I can get it to do splash damage to me, which also hits the ink switch. And that's a faster way to get through that section. Which is super cool tech, dude. It's like the subtle things, but I really like to focus on the subtle things in my runs to get time saves, because a lot of people won't even go for it. You can ignore both these snipers here. As long as you're continuously moving, you can just get past them. If you stop moving though, they're gonna pick you up. That's gonna be bad. Going around this flutter here to grab this key. Go back to the lockbox. We can use that grab link there to get there a little faster. The thing about lockboxes is that they have like a little animation when they're opening. So the fact that we go past it is actually fine because we get the animation going, and by the time we get back there, the pad's already open. So it ends up saving quite a bit. And then we're going to the right side here. The charger's got enough range to make that shot work. The only reason it didn't work the first time is because I didn't full charge. So ate a little time there because of it. No big deal. Next up's 11. I think about 11. This is what really separates me and Thundy, I would say, because at least back then I didn't understand how fence jump worked. I do now. I do it in my trifecta runs at any percent at least. But back then I really didn't fully understand the trick. So I end up losing about 5 seconds to Thundy here consistently. Hopefully when I eventually come back to this category, things can be different, but we'll see. And in this stage, there's a bunch of these Tanakooks lying around. They got keys in them, but they also run away from you. So you're trying to keep the sniper away from them, because if you've noticed, the sniper puts out like a little bit of a laser pointer when it's aiming at something, and that'll scare these enemies. So you want to make sure, keep it off of them. That fence right there, that's what you do fence jump off of. If you keep speed, as you're hopping onto that fence, you can actually just go from the fence to that top platform, save about 5 seconds, which is really cool. Grab that Tentacook, making sure it doesn't see that laser the whole time. which is why I aim down there. And then hop on top of this box, grab this Tentacook with another charger shot. Very cool. Nice corner cut here. I don't know if this would have been known when Tones did his run in 2018, but you can just jump that. Straight up. Like, you don't have to go around at all. There's a lot of strats that have really been discovered over the years that I don't even think about anymore just because they got discovered in 2018 or 19. But compared to how Tones did his run, AGDQ 2018, like, this game wasn't even close to the same as it is now. So much of the movement is way more optimized now. Because this isn't Splatoon 1, there isn't like massive tricks that we found. There's some small things like car wash and fence jump, but yeah, I'm going to be commentating over my Splatoon 1 runs next, and that's going to be pretty interesting because there are big skips in that game. Anyway, this is Octastomp, a reused boss from Splatoon 1, this time with a buckle. The charger's fantastic for this because 5 shots will pop it. Let's think about this phase. You throw 2 curls forward, you get like a full charge and a partial, and that gets enough damage on the buckle that only 2 more shots are required to actually pop it, which is kind of like a nice combination of weapons there to deal enough damage. And then you reduce the stomp slide to a minimum by just trying to go behind it to actually pop it. Grab myself a 56 there. I have world record on this stage. Fun fact. I have a 54 here, which only me and Amamiya have, which is pretty awesome. I grinded a while for that one. But it also requires a nearly frame perfect full charge shot, which is completely dumb and pointless to go for in full runs. So you like a 56 when you get it, you know. Anyway, boss 4. This one is greatly suited for the charger. There's going to be a lot of octocopters on top of shower here, and you have to pick them off one by one with the charger. Your biggest enemy here is missing shots. If you miss a shot, especially in phase 2 and 3, you can lose upwards of 10 seconds. So hit your shots. Hit your shots. That went excellently. Lots of partial charges are needed to actually take out each of those in good time. A nice 41. That's the standard there. At least with those strats. There are faster strats you can do. Technically, Slosher is a faster weapon there as well, but it's also really far away in the weapon menu, so if you want to try to use it in a run, it takes a long time to switch to it. It still might actually be faster, but we're talking frames at that point. And me and Thundy both don't really play Slosher much, so we wouldn't know. This is level 20 though. The thing about level 20, you'll see on my splits there, it says Charger. The thing about Charger in this stage is that it's really safe, but it loses 8 seconds to the hero shot's optimal cycle, which is really hard. But I was at the end of my grind at this point, 900 attempts in, so I was really starting to feel myself with the optimal cycle. You basically have to play the first 40 seconds of the stage within a second of the best possible. You want to be on this pad at 41, so I'm just barely making it right here. And as this guy's going forward, you get a bomb over there to lower the other platform, then you can hop on top of this flutter, grab the key. That's IL cycle, which Most people will tell you that's insanely difficult, and I would agree. And then from here, we're going to be switching to Splat Bob, getting 2 different hits onto these boxes by going to the right spot. It's all set up in tactical. Just I can barely make this cycle. Pull the fan down, grab a 128. That time is so good. That is so incredibly optimized. Probably the best split in my PB, if I have to be honest. Like, basically everything went right there. And my best ever there is a 127, which used to be world record. So, pretty close to that. Next up, this is one of the least liked stages in this game. A lot of people will say that this is their least favorite. 19 Experimentorium. Nice bomb crush, by the way. There's 3 different paths at the start, and at the end of each of those paths, there's a key. We need to use that to activate 3 switches, go to the ending section with a big maze of giant squeegees that we have to navigate, and it's just so annoying. Not only are some of these sections really difficult to move around with like Tentacooks and whatnot and switches, but then you have a giant squeegee section at the end. So, very cool. But you can... It takes a lot of practice to do what I just did there. Getting around the shield of those enemies by shooting over them. That's all based on like spacing. So you have to practice that spacing a lot to really be able to use that. And then we got 2 keys now. We still got to get the last one. I almost fell off there. Oh, that would have been so bad, dude. Thinking this path here, grabbing the switch, and then you can like use the platform going up to boost yourself. Oh, auto bomb? Oh, did I not know about Splat Bomb strat yet? Oh, I don't think I did. Yeah, I'm playing left side here. There's a slightly faster strat you can do with the switch involving a Splat Bomb instead. But I did auto bomb instead. Loses about a second these days. But that's like a really recent optimization. I'm kind of not too surprised that I didn't know about that in March. Anyway, last section. You can see the problem. Giant squeegees everywhere. 3 big boys and a lot of enemies. So we're trying to use auto bombs here to aggro the squeegees where we want them, and it works out fairly well here. That is not a time to scoff at in this stage. Very solid. From here, the rest of World 4 is kind of a cakewalk. There's nothing too interesting going on. There's just even going to be an auto-scroller in 18, which is like perfect donation reading time, you know? Because there is a stage where there is a minute with absolutely nothing going on of interest. This one's kind of cool, though. It's not the hardest thing in NG+, but there's a fast cycle we can make here. And like some specific movement we can do to dodge some baller cycles later. It makes no sense to the people I will talk about. Like, this is just a runner thing where it's just like, this is super complicated and no one understands this. But yeah, in essence, we're making a faster global cycle here. Let's go, Eevee! No way. We can use this platform rising here to give us like a push up because like it gives you momentum, yeah. And you can use that to get up there a little faster. which helps with spawner cycles later, but oh my god, I'm not going into why that works. 10-minute discussion on why the ballers spawn this way instead of something else. Got myself a 121 there. I made some mistakes. I almost got knocked off by ballers in multiple spots, but that's a good enough time. You take it. Okay, so this is level 17. There's a fast cycle you can do in level 17 by going left on this block and doing a tight jump. Most runners aren't a fan of that cycle because it saves you 3 seconds when you get it, but loses you about 15 to 20 when you miss it. So it's another thing, it's just like your risk reward tolerance, you know? I opt out just because for 102, when I was specifically going for this run, I was trying to get a 102, the first 102. So a lot of things just weren't required yet. But for record now and going for 101, they kind of are. Because when I got this run, the world record was my 103.14. And I'd been grinding for like weeks trying to get this 102 to actually happen. And then a week after I got this run, Thundy got the 102.24 and like made me go like, okay man, well, I tried, I guess. It's just like, bro, whatever. Being careful with these gunners here and these platform cycles. Really don't want to get chipped off. Because it's pretty easy to die there, I'm just saying. Next up is 18. So the thing about 18 is that the first 20 seconds are like really precise. And then after that, this stage is just autopilot. You're gonna see what I mean right away. So after we get onto this jump pad, everything movement-wise here is like really sketchy because these are all like really thin platforms. So you're just trying to go around all of these enemies. I actually take all the enemies out, which is a little slower, but it's safe. And then from here, guess what the next 30 seconds are? Dodge roll boosting. That's it. You just dodge roll boost for the next 30 seconds because you have nothing better to do for the next 30 seconds. Snore. The rhythmic sounds of dodge roll boosting, dude. So cool. And then we go ahead onto the actual auto-scroller section. This is a full minute where we don't really have much to do. And you see, I'm not like Tones back in 2018. I'm not gonna fall off at the end of the auto-scroller, okay? It's fine. If you're in a situation like that, you should like take it a little slower and make sure you're gonna make the jump, you know? It's just like, it can be kind of weird, dude. Never forget that moment. It's just funny. Octosnipes. Not just the video quality, or is that me? gotta say, like, 240p looking video, like, oh! Anyway, nice 216 there. That's a pretty optimized time. Nice gold split. You know how it is. That's what we do around here. Next up in our wacky adventures, the big 21. 21? You stupid. No, I'm not. It's another Octoling stage, this time on Moray Towers, and Moray Towers is a very vertical stage, perfect for Dualies. All these dodge rolls down save a ton of time over just falling. Just following the Zapfish route, there's a sprinkler right here. By tapping that corner then jumping, you completely dodge the sprinkler. It's like, this stage is full of subtle routing, and I'm not the best at it. I think my PV here is a 44 or a 43, and world record's like a 41. The corner cut by going up that wall instead of going all the way around, and then grabbing Zapfish. And then, 23. We're going into World 5, and 23 is easily my favorite stage in this game. It's a grind rail stage, like level 5. And it has just such great movement fidelity. There's so many little optimizations you could do here. It's so good. I think I get a 148 here. That isn't even that good of a time anymore. My best ever is a 145. Which I didn't have at this point yet. I think I still had a 147 PV because I didn't fully understand it. I really got good at the stage in like May. Yeah, I didn't know about like the whole everything you could do there by getting all 3 of those enemies with the blue instead of the 2, and then you snap to the side. It's just like I was unaware at this point of like all the little things you could do here. So I look back at this run and it's just like, well, this is unoptimal. I don't like watching it. It's like all these frame savers I'm missing out on, man. And I'm not gonna know how about fast rolls here. It's like on this rail, if you delay long enough, you can do like extra dodge rolls up the side to go a little faster and cut corners. It's like, I'm missing so much. Didn't know about the Nollie here. Oh. This guy. Anyways, lots of dodge roll boosting. Dodging all these ink sticks. You do 2 rolls there just to go straight over that gap. You have to be very careful with your timing though, or otherwise they'll just shoot you straight down the gap between it. Balloon? Yes, smart. Nice 148. There you go, bud. That's a gold split, but for today's standards, that gold is bad. I can drop that by 2 seconds easily. Oh well. Next up's 27, our last Octoling stage. This one's pretty fun and got optimized a lot recently just because of... We used to always pick up an armor here to be safe, and... we don't really need to do that anymore because we kind of understand the AI of how these Octolings spawn now a lot more. And because of that knowledge, we don't need an armor to damage boost or something. So you can just skip it. By holding, it's like holding right side on that wall stops an enemy spawning right in front of you as you try to break that box. And it's like subtle things. Subtle things. Ooh, out of ink there. Missed the bomb throw strat. Lose a little time here, that's all good. Oh, that's so sketchy. 40. Ooh. This is the beginning of the downward spiral. Like, I was really starting to feel the nerves at this point, because you gotta keep in mind, I'm going for a 102 in this run, and my best possible time's still a 101, and I'm in World 5, and it's like, what? So I really start to, like, feel the pressure. There's 7 seconds of save here, but it's using a pretty dangerous IL strat that I'm pretty sure I opt out of, but I still make mistakes throughout the stage, so I lose time. It's like, I'm trying. Just trying to hold yourself together at this point. Hold on, Ginger. Okay, so got these bombers here. Funny thing about what I just did there. So I can actually explain that. So you notice as I was like trying to go up that wall, I was inking the whole thing. What happened is that as I was inking it, my controller was too close to my desk and I bumped R on the top of my desk and it threw a curl as I was trying to jump. Which is just funny. But it also cost me like 3 seconds for me being too close to my desk, which is terrible. And then we have a really cheeky strat here to take care of all these enemies. Taking out these two, throw a bomb forward, take out the shielded enemy, clean up these two after. Like, that's hard. And if you mess up any of those, then you have to go into like backup cycles and whatnot to actually grab all your enemy kills. It's like, ah, making it work, man. Yeah, so this is the ending section. This is where an IL strat comes into play, where instead of, I'm going to be waiting here and using auto bombs. You don't have to actually do that. You can jump straight to that small enemy over there and take it out mid-jump with your dualies. I don't do that here. I instead just use auto bombs to lure one over and grab a 146, which is like not the best time, I'll be honest. But I am just a few stages away from Octavio at this point. And Octavio is very special in this game for being very inconsistent. Ooh. We don't like Octavio here. Octavio is just like bad. Anyway, here's 26. We're doing this one with a hero shot for the increased range. Be very useful. You can do this with dualies, just a little slower. In some cases, it could save you a weapon switch. It would save a weapon switch on my route, but my actual route that I use isn't perfect. So you can actually make this weapon switch disappear if you're smart about it. It also involves stacking 20 and 19 though in World 4 at the very end of it, which is like, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad, dude. Anyway, stage is full of Octoballs. We're gonna get very close to hitting a lot of these Octoballs, but I am very knowledgeable on like how these hitboxes work. So if you thought the normal Octoballs were bad, there's giant ones here. I think this was also in a previous stage, but I didn't really mention it because it wasn't important. Now they are important. So you're just trying to go under these Octoballs. I almost get bumped there, and if I did, that would have been dead run. So I'm glad it didn't, but I also end up having a really slow time here. My best here is a 118 ever, and I get like a 127, I think. It's just not my best work, but glad to be through the stage over anything. I'm starting to crumble quite a bit here, but I'm holding on to enough of it that I can still 102 this run. This is, for almost everyone, the hardest stage in the game. 24 is full of a lot of moving platforms and difficult cycles that you have to make. So this is extremely challenging gameplay. Including this fast cycle right here. By inking the left side of that platform and going forward at the right time. You can get onto that early without having to wait. Doing those 2 shots there. Definitely a lot safer at NG plus than it is at any percent. This stage is a nightmare at any percent because you have to do it with a slosher instead of a charger, which has less range. And range is like the most important thing here. Damage output is whatever, but like you really want range. And then going left side here, jumping at the very end with a full hop, getting up as the platform rises. Senko cycle. That's what it's called. Saves, I believe it's like 8 seconds. Which is pretty nice. I'm missing a lot of these charges here onto these switches. It is what it is. Grab myself a 124 here, which is okay. It's a lot better than dying there, that's for sure. If you die there, you're looking at like a 140, but it's not ideal either. Then 25. 25 is the last skill-based stage. And in 25, there is a fast cycle that you can make here. I don't think I make it in this run, because I'm like fairly shaken up at this point. And just like the pressure's getting to me. Which is something I've gotten a lot better at since. Like back in March, I got so much pressure when I was on insane runs, and I still do, but it's not anywhere near as bad. Like in Splatoon 1, when I was grinding for sub 50 there, I was actually able to keep composure on most of my sub 50 runs. Paces, I should say. Because I only have one sub 50 run. That's all you need though. Okay, so you can kind of tell if you're able to make the fast cycle here depending on how you've moved throughout the stage and the timer. Since I missed that jump though, I completely lost any chance of it. But it is what it is. You take your slow cycle and you go through. My PB here also got the slow cycle, which is this platform cycle right there. So I instead got the slow one here. And we're hitting ink switch quite a bit. And then the charge is really useful here because you can use it to hit this ink switch repeatedly with full charge shots, which keep it going for a long time. So you can just shoot a few times there and it's got enough speed for the rest of the whole trip that you're doing. And then 57-15 Octavio list, that's a great time. Not as good as Thundies, but it's a great time. Quote the wise ginger, I'm turning on my camera in case something good happens. And then something good happened, because right here is DJ Octavio. This is an RNG boss fight. You are looking to get very lucky, and I'll explain why. Oh my god, my hair was so long back then. So here, there's 3 different main phases to Octavio. Each of those phases, you need to hit 8 fists back. The first 2, 1 to 2, depending on the phases that you're doing, are consistent. Everything past that can either give you a set of straight punches or spin punches. Straight punches you can hit back, spin punches you can't. You're looking for straights, you don't want spins. So I get a spin here, 4-1. Another straight, 6-1, looking nice. Another bomb cycle. 8-1, okay. I'm going to explain shower attacks when we get there, because I definitely get a shower in this. If not in phase 2, then in phase 3. Because showerless phase 3 is the key to getting a sub 4 Octavio, but no one's ever gotten it, so It is what it is. Look at that Ginger over there on the left side. He's freaking out because he's getting, oh my god, straight punches, and it's like single. No, not a single. I'm gonna get a shower now. It's over, dude. And then I get insane RNG and make up for it. Which is just like funny, you know? So right here you get 2 punches. I'm 7 attacks right now, and I'm just over there like, give me a straight, let me get out of it. There it is. There it is. No shower attack. Saving so much time right there. It's insane. And then in phase 3, you only get 1 consistent punch to start. To get a shower this year, you need to get 3 double attacks and a single attack before the shower comes out. Nice double to start, but it's not enough. Double? Nice RNG, bro. I went 7 into shower in this? Wow. That's crazy. That's the best we've ever seen, phase 3 wise. This room was cracked, what? I haven't seen this good of Octavio RNG in a really long time. Anyway, at this point, we're in phase 4 of Octavio. The RNG's practically done. You're just looking for Fist at this point. So we're just hitting back Fist. We're jumping on this rail occasionally from time to time, just so that we can get this set up properly. We're going to try to line up with the end rail in a specific way, so it'll get us through this faster. But this is the end of the Splatoon 2 NG Plus run. It's unfortunate that it ends with a basically 2-minute RNG fight. But it's a super interesting movement category and extremely fast-paced. So it'd be a fun one to show off, especially, I think it's better than Hero Mode any percent, but to each their own in that regard. And this has never been shown at a GDQ before, so I feel like it's a good pick. It is what it is, though. Anyways, that's definitely it for the submission. If you couldn't tell, I've been shaking around right now because I really got to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to wrap this up once Octavio gets slam-a-jam-damned. Ginger's popping off like, oh my god, I finally did it. I'm going to get a 102. And then, yeah, finishes up, grabs his 102. Just like, yes, let's go. Pop off. But that's it. That will be my submission. Next up, I'm going to record the Splatoon 1 one, so I'll see you there. Peace out.